I love Thai curry for its kind of like unapologetic flavor smack in the face. Flavors just bursting right out of the bowl. Hi everyone, my name is Janelle and you're watching Everyday Jane, where I make simple homemade food, which brings us to today's recipe. It's a really quick and easy Thai curry with delicious peanut tofu, and I can't wait to show you, so let's get started. So this dish starts with the tofu, and we're going to sort of twice cook this tofu. The first way is we're gonna chop it up and put it in the oven, and that's mostly just to make sure all the moisture has kind of come out of the tofu. Tofu gets a bad rap. I'm not for that because it's delicious and it takes on flavor so well. So the first thing we're gonna need to do is make sure that you have tofu that is an extra firm variety. You can get a number of different types of tofu, get the extra firm kind. And what I've been doing is just kind of squeezing it in this kitchen towel. Once you've towel dried your brick of tofu, you're just gonna chop it up into some chunks. I'm keeping mine pretty large. And this is my clay baking sheet. I love this thing. You can tell it's very well used. And I'm just gonna move the tofu right on here. And to this, I'm not gonna work on flavoring it too much. We're gonna create a separate sauce for this to use when frying in the pan. But in this situation, I'm just gonna coat it in a little bit of olive oil, maybe a tablespoon, and some salt. And there's no better way to do this than just getting your hands dirty. All right, that was easy. So I'm just gonna pop this in the oven at 350 for maybe 20 to 25 minutes, and you're gonna start to see them turn a little bit golden. Then I'm gonna work on prepping our vegetables. For a delicious curry, really, you pick whatever vegetables you want. It's the ones that you find the tastiest, some contrasting colors and textures. I'm gonna start with our greens. This is a cucumber. I'm doing online orders lately, and I asked for zucchini, that's for sure. So scratch that, we're not including zucchini in this curry. That's how flexible this curry is. So let's start with some broccoli, and we'll just roughly chop them. Just cut off the edges, and then we'll slice them in half. I'm using here a Asian eggplant, but they are a bit bigger than some of those smaller, cute little eggplants. So many different varieties out there, but I've always grown up using these. Carrot, I'm not gonna bother to peel them. If that bothers you, you can absolutely peel them. Lastly, my sweet pepper. This is actually from my garden. If you're interested in seeing other things that we grew this season, I have a garden tour video. I'll link it right here. All right, so here I am with my pot preheating here. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. And one thing I wanted to chat with you about while this is still getting a little bit warm is this little guy. What is this, you ask? This is red panang curry paste, and it looks like this, all frozen, because I made this maybe about 2 months ago, and I made a huge batch and I put them in ice cube trays, froze them, and then emptied it into a Ziploc container, and I've been using it ever since. If you're interested in this recipe, I actually got it from Marian's Kitchen, so I'll link her down in the description box below for her panang curry recipe. I don't think I followed it to a T, I just found what I could find in my market. If you don't have it, just go and find some curry paste at your local Asian grocery store, or even in regular grocery stores. I'm using an ice cube amount, but this is equal to about a tablespoon and a half. So I'm putting it right in there. As you could hear, it's sizzling, and we're just gonna cook this down for a few minutes. So we'll cook this down. As you notice, I'm not using any onions or garlic because it's already in this paste. This is gonna make your life so much easier. I'm just cooking this on a medium heat. The smell is intoxicating and it makes you cough a bit, so don't worry if that happens to you. There are chilies in here. I'm going to add some of my vegetables, so let's put in some carrots in here. So now that these carrots have cooked for a minute or two, I'm just gonna add the other vegetables. We've got our beautiful broccoli, our green beans, as well as our red pepper and eggplant. In you go. Give that a stir. I'm gonna talk to you about coconut milk. So I'm going to use 1 can of full fat coconut milk. You wanna make sure that you find a brand of, oh, this is so spicy. It's hard to, you wanna make sure that you use a brand of coconut milk that has very minimal ingredients. You don't want any additional thickeners or other things in there. So I'm putting 1 whole can of coconut milk right into our mixture here. And to this, we're also gonna add 1 can's worth of water as well. So what's that? 400 milliliters of water. So as you can see, this coconut milk almost covers all the vegetables, but not quite. So this is going to cook. I like them to have a little bit of a crunch left to them. So I'm gonna put that lid on, and then we are going to allow this to come up to a simmer. So to this curry, I'm going to add peanut butter. It's going in the tofu as well as going right into this curry as well. So I'm gonna add about a tablespoon, maybe a little more. It's up to you, however peanutty you want it. Okay, we're gonna mix that peanut butter right in the sauce. It's actually not gonna flavor it too heavily. It's gonna be like a subtle peanut flavor that carries through this and makes the sauce even more luscious. Okay, so we're gonna add some fish sauce to this next. If you don't have fish sauce, you can absolutely use salt if you'd like. So we have to add a little bit of sweetness to this to just sort of balance all the spicy, savory flavors. Typically, I would use palm sugar. That's more characteristic of a traditional Thai curry. Of course, this isn't traditional. This is just sort of my interpretation, but I'm going to use honey instead, just because it is a little bit of a more subtle, sweet flavor. And lastly, I'm just gonna add a little bit of lime juice here, just to brighten it all up. You give it a taste and see what it's missing, and you add whatever else you'd like according to your preferences. And then it'll be ready to eat in just a few minutes. So the tofu has come out of the oven, and as you can tell, they're this beautiful golden color, and the edges have crisped up ever so slightly, and they are ready to go. So I'm gonna keep these to the side, and I'm gonna work on a sauce for them. So to this bowl here, I'm going to add a couple of ingredients. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And to this, I'm going to add about 1.5 tablespoons of peanut butter. I'm using creamy today, but you can absolutely use chunky peanut butter. Okay, I'm just gonna use this spoon now. A little bit of honey, a tablespoon or so. A little bit of lime for that acid. About 1 tablespoon. Just going to give this a good little mix. You want to get a cast iron pan or a skillet ready on medium-high heat. You can see this thing is already smoking. And then in the sauce goes. Look at that. It's already starting to caramelize. And this isn't going to take long at all. Leave it for a second and then do a little flip. Okay, and that stuff that's kind of clinging, this stuff right here, that tastes amazing. So don't worry if you see that. Keep your tofu moving though. Don't leave it sitting for too long. You don't want anything to burn. Everything is ready, my tofu, my curry. I also made some jasmine rice as well, and that's already in my bowl. So let's plate this up. So I'm gonna pour in some of my delicious curry. I'm gonna put in some of that peanut tofu, squeeze of lime just over everything. We can use it as a garnish as well. Some chopped peanuts just over the whole thing for some added crunch. All right, so here we have it, our moment of truth. Not really, I've tried this a million times, so I know that it's quite delicious, but let's give it a taste test, shall we? I definitely want to get a bit of that sauce, some of those crunchy peanuts, of course, the tofu. Bon appetit. Oh, like a hug. It is so comforting. I love Thai curry for its kind of like unapologetic flavor smack in the face. It's got all these incredible flavors just bursting right out of the bowl, and it is so good. Please try this out at home, especially if you've already got a pre-bought curry paste or a curry paste that you've made from scratch already waiting for you in the freezer. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
You leave your shoes and your coat at the door, along with every little thing that's got you down. Not your job, not your boss, not the guy.